The Kremlin has stated that President Putin is willing to consider peace with Ukraine only once Russia has accomplished its objectives. The Institute for the Study of War, ISW, reports that Russia is producing Iranian Shahed drones at such a rapid pace that the Kremlin has stated that President Putin is willing to consider peace with Ukraine only once Russia has accomplished its objectives. The Institute for the Study of War, ISW, reports that Russia is producing Iranian Shahed drones at such a rapid pace that it might soon be capable of deploying 2,000 drones in just one night. In Ukraine, there are ongoing protests following President Zelensky's signing of a bill that limits the powers of anti-corruption agencies. A Malaysian court has temporarily halted a civil lawsuit filed by Muhammad Yusuf against Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, accusing him of sexual misconduct that allegedly occurred 4 years ago. In the United States, a well-known Ecuadorian drug lord named
A video featuring an AI-generated flood at a Seoul palace highlights the growing issue of deepfakes and have lost their lives in the country due to severe rainstorms that led to landslides and flooding. Cloudflare has begun blocking websites that host pirated content for users in the UK. Furthermore, the US Nuclear Weapons Agency has been compromised in a hack involving Microsoft SharePoint, with both Google and Microsoft reporting that Chinese hackers are taking advantage of a zero-day vulnerability in SharePoint.
Israel is preparing to attack the final town in Gaza as discussions for a truce have come to a halt. The White House has revealed that Donald Trump expressed opposition to Israeli military actions in Syria. The Pope has made a plea for the cessation of the violence and suffering in Gaza.
Putin has given the green light for the development of a state-run messaging application aimed at countering the influence of WhatsApp and Telegram, as Russia prepares to eliminate WhatsApp as part of its efforts to assert digital sovereignty. Additionally, Russia and Belarus have introduced a censored patriotic AI designed to compete with Western counterparts. Furthermore, a new Russian law has been enacted that makes it illegal to conduct online searches for content that is considered controversial.
Microsoft has decided to cease employing engineers based in China for providing technical support related to U.S. military technology. In a separate development, France has apprehended a Russian basketball player at the behest of the United States, citing charges of hacking. Reuters has disclosed that Trump's Golden Dome is currently exploring options beyond SpaceX, which is owned by Elon Musk, for its future endeavors.
Research indicates that the movement of ships can cause methane to be released from the ocean floor.
The BRICS countries are urging affluent nations to provide financial support for the worldwide shift towards a more sustainable climate. According to the Financial Times, the European Union is delaying the signing of a climate action agreement with China. Mercedes-Benz is introducing the capability to utilize an in-car camera for Microsoft Teams meetings during drives.
Tesla is enhancing its vehicle lineup by integrating Grok AI with the 2025.26 software update. Renault is aiming to increase its production in India by focusing on more SUVs and expanding exports.
Claude has introduced a financial analysis solution specifically designed for investment firms. According to a Reuters report, OpenAI is planning to launch a web browser, aiming to compete with Google Chrome. America's largest power grid is facing challenges in meeting the increasing demand generated by artificial intelligence. According to a report by The Conversation, our latest study suggests that the improvement in air quality in East Asia might have contributed to the recent increase in the rate of global warming. Scientists have observed a significant thawing in Svalbard, marking a dramatic point in the Arctic winter. Furthermore, a study indicates that the melting of glaciers could potentially lead to volcanic eruptions occurring worldwide.
Recent research indicates that student loan debt might not discourage civic participation. Instead, it could potentially motivate it. Cornell University has released findings suggesting that conspiracy theorists are often unaware that their views are considered extreme. A study has been reported that claims the pandemic has accelerated brain aging, affecting individuals regardless of whether they contracted COVID-19.
Users of Reddit in the United Kingdom are now required to demonstrate that they are at least 18 years old in order to access adult content. 5 countries within the European Union are set to experiment with an age verification application aimed at safeguarding children. In the United States, the military has announced that it will continuously oversee bathrooms to adhere to an anti-transgender directive.
France is conducting an investigation into X regarding allegations of foreign interference. A member of parliament has expressed criticism towards Grok. X has strongly criticized the French criminal investigation, which claims to involve manipulation of algorithms. In other news, the White House is in the process of preparing an executive order aimed at addressing what it refers to as woke AI. Furthermore, the UK is considering retracting its request for backdoor access to the encrypted data of Apple users.
The Wall Street Journal has announced that the FDA has given the green light to Juul's e-cigarettes, following a ban that nearly drove the company to bankruptcy. Coca-Cola is set to introduce a cane sugar soda this fall, a move prompted by a request from former President Trump. In the United States, the Environmental Protection Agency is reportedly working on a plan that would limit its capacity to combat climate change.
A teenage girl who lived 6,200 years ago and had a cone-shaped skull was discovered in Iran. The renowned fairy tale castles of Bavaria's King Ludwig II, including Neuschwanstein Castle, have been recognized as UNESCO World Heritage Sites. The United States has once more exited UNESCO, pointing to perceived anti-Israel bias and involvement in woke issues. In the United States, Senator Marco Rubio has taken the step of revoking the visas of a Brazilian judge and several associates in response to the ongoing prosecution of former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro. This action comes as Bolsonaro himself has been mandated to wear an ankle monitor following a police raid. A State Department official has warned that expressing criticism of Israel could potentially result in visa revocations. The Pentagon has issued an order for 700 Marines to be withdrawn from Los Angeles, as the city regains stability after a series of protests involving Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. A group of 100 BBC insiders has written a letter accusing the UK broadcaster of acting as a public relations tool for Israel. Notable figures such as Miriam Margolyes and Charles Dance have signed the letter. Riyad Mansour, the Palestinian ambassador to the UN, has compared the current situation to the early stages of South Africa's struggle, noting that initially, not many people offered support. In the United States, Columbia University has taken action against students involved in an anti-Israel riot that resulted in a violent takeover of a library, issuing suspensions and expulsions to several students.
India has achieved a significant milestone by reaching 50% of its power generation from non-fossil sources, surpassing its target for clean energy by 2030. Ember Energy has reported that solar energy has become the primary power source in the European Union for the first time in history. The United Nations has approved a motion on climate change following the Marshall Islands' decision to shift its focus away from fossil fuels. In India, Airtel has collaborated with Perplexity to provide Perplexity Pro to each of its 360 million customers. Microsoft, OpenAI, and a U.S. teachers union are working together on a strategy to integrate AI into educational settings. An AI robot, trained using surgery videos, successfully performed a gallbladder operation without any human assistance.
A filing by the Department of Justice indicates that executives from MoonPay might have transferred $250,000 to a scammer based in Nigeria. The government of the United Kingdom is planning to prohibit public organizations from making ransom payments to hackers. Furthermore, the Federal Bureau of Investigation has concluded its investigation into Jesse Powell, the founder of Kraken, regarding claims of hacking into non-profit accounts.
Top Bay Area eateries are scrutinizing your social media profiles before you even set foot inside. In Florida, robo-bunnies have emerged as the latest tool in combating the spread of invasive Burmese pythons. Individuals can be identified using a distinctive fingerprint, derived from the way their bodies interfere with Wi-Fi signals.
YouTube has eliminated a vast number of propaganda channels associated with countries like China, Russia, and others. In a related development, Iranians have been subjected to spyware attacks as tensions rise in anticipation of a potential conflict with Israel. Meta has taken action by deleting 10 million Facebook profiles in an ongoing campaign to reduce spam.
The United Kingdom has decided to proceed with the sale of Typhoon fighter jets to Turkey following Germany's decision to lift its previous veto on the deal. In a significant development in space technology, Chinese satellites have successfully completed their initial high-altitude rendezvous, marking a potential breakthrough in the field of refueling in space. Iran has officially confirmed that it is engaging in nuclear negotiations with European nations, marking the first such talks since the recent military strikes by the United States. The Wall Street Journal has reported that Iran is taking steps to rearm its militia allies.
Restaurants and bars are contemplating shutting off music due to the rapid increase in licensing fees. An AI-created band has achieved 1 million plays on Spotify, prompting music industry experts to suggest that listeners should be informed. Netflix has announced that half of its worldwide users are now watching anime and has unveiled an expanded lineup. McDonald's AI tool for hiring had a password as simple as 123456, which led to the exposure of personal data for 64 million job applicants. Spotify released songs created by AI, featuring the voices of deceased artists, without obtaining any prior permission. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, has raised concerns about a potential crisis involving AI-generated voice fraud within the banking sector.
Trump instructed Pam Bondi to obtain the release of relevant documents from the Epstein grand jury. Trump threatened legal measures to prevent the Wall Street Journal from publishing an embarrassing story about Jeffrey Epstein, and he filed a $10 billion lawsuit against Rupert Murdoch concerning a Wall Street Journal article about an Epstein birthday letter. The Wall Street Journal reported that Jeffrey Epstein's acquaintances sent him risque letters for a 50th birthday album, with one being from Donald Trump.
The United States is indicating a plan to reconsider the current system for the H-1B visa lottery. Under President Trump's administration, the Labor Department has put forth over 60 proposed rule modifications aimed at reducing workplace regulations. Furthermore, President Donald J. Trump has introduced a new category of federal employees, known as Schedule G employees, which are non-career, policy-focused positions designed to better serve the American public. The United States is set to implement a significant anti-dumping tariff of 93.5% on battery materials originating from China. MP Materials and Apple have declared a joint venture worth $500 million aimed at manufacturing recycled rare earth magnets within the United States. Former President Trump has eased restrictions on chip exports to China, allowing AMD to begin selling its MI308 AI chips in the country once licenses are granted. This move follows NVIDIA's announcement of plans to resume sales of its H20 chips in China, with the U.S. government having assured the company of license approvals and deliveries expected to commence shortly.
Individuals planning to visit the United States will now be required to pay an additional $250 fee, which is designated as a visa integrity fee. In other news, India is set to grant its first tourist visas to Chinese citizens in a span of 5 years. Officials from the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic committees have decided to exclude transgender women from participating in the women's sports categories at the Olympic Games.
The Trump administration has provided the personal information of Medicaid recipients, such as their addresses, to Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. In the United Kingdom, Nigel Farage has proposed deporting violent criminals to El Salvador as part of a broader crime-fighting initiative. In Japan, the far-right Sansito Party, advocating for a Japanese-first stance, has become the fourth-largest opposition group in parliament, gaining prominence with its strong immigration policies amid the government's loss of control in the upper house. SpaceX has cautioned its investors that Elon Musk might re-enter the realm of United States politics. Donald Trump has intensified his accusations against Barack Obama, labeling him a traitor in the ongoing conflict regarding the 2016 Russia investigation. Trump further asserts that Obama should be the primary focus of the Department of Justice's inquiry into the intelligence report. In the United States, the Republican Party has halted proceedings on the House floor to prevent a vote on Jeffrey Epstein, while the Deputy Attorney General is scheduled to meet with Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell.
The head of the Hong Kong Monetary Authority has cautioned against overenthusiasm regarding stablecoins. Donald Trump has pledged to transform the United States into the global leader in cryptocurrency by signing the Genius Act into law, which includes stablecoin regulations, as the crypto sector seeks broader acceptance. Gallup has reported that cryptocurrency continues to have limited appeal among average Americans. In response to changing regulations in Hong Kong and the U.S., Citigroup is considering exploring stablecoins.
Emirates, the Dubai-based airline, is adopting digital currencies and the metaverse as strategies to draw on new customers. Telegram has launched its cryptocurrency wallet, making it available to its 87 million users in the United States. The CEO of Western Union has announced intentions to incorporate stablecoin into the company's digital wallet.
Despite existing export restrictions, a significant amount of $1 billion worth of NVIDIA AI chips have been imported into China. In response to the United States limitations, Chinese companies specializing in artificial intelligence are collaborating to establish a robust domestic ecosystem. Alibaba has introduced its inaugural AI-powered glasses, stepping into the competitive arena of smart wearables in China. Trump claims that Hamas is seeking destruction and encourages Israel to complete its actions in Gaza. Earlier, the United States concluded ceasefire discussions with Gaza prematurely, attributing it to Hamas' perceived lack of interest. In Israel, a far-right minister asserts that the country is aiming to eliminate Gaza and transform it into a Jewish territory. French President Macron announces that France will acknowledge Palestine as an independent state.
Ghislaine Maxwell mentioned 100 different individuals during her interview with the Department of Justice regarding Jeffrey Epstein, according to her lawyer. The Wall Street Journal reported that in May, the Justice Department informed Donald Trump that his name is among the many included in the Epstein files. News outlets have stated that Ghislaine Maxwell has obtained limited immunity from the Department of Justice. Furthermore, Trump has expressed that he might consider pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell but has not yet given it any thought. Trump also claimed that someone might have forged his signature on a birthday letter he sent to Epstein. South Park has humorously criticized Trump over the Epstein files, portraying him in a scene with Satan.
The U.S. Treasury has started accepting contributions through Venmo and PayPal in an effort to tackle the $36.7 trillion national debt. Russia's central bank has once again reduced its key interest rate due to the slowing economy. Donald Trump has imposed a 15% tariff on the European Union, which is less than his initial threat, following a meeting in Scotland. This tariff is believed to assist Europe in moving away from Russian energy sources.
Banksy's artwork titled The Migrant Child has been taken down from a Venetian palazzo to undergo restoration and will be displayed again in the future. A 4,400-year-old Sumerian tablet known as The Fox That Rescued the Storm God, which contains a myth previously undiscovered, has been analyzed for the first time. George Lucas made his debut at Comic-Con to promote the Lucas Museum of Narrative Art.
The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals has decided that NFTs are eligible for trademark protection, which means the case involving Yuga Labs will be returned to trial. This decision reverses Yuga Labs' previous $9 million victory over Ryder Rips. The leader of the Jetflix streaming piracy operation has been sentenced to 7 years in prison. An AI-modified ending of the film Ranjana has intensified the dispute between Eros and Anand L. Rai over creative rights, with some suggesting that Indian cinema is currently at a significant turning point.
Lyft is set to introduce Benteler's autonomous shuttles in the United States by the year 2026. China's Unitree has unveiled a humanoid robot priced at $5,900, aiming to compete in the market for more affordable robotic products. Mercedes-Benz is currently conducting tests on solid-state batteries for electric vehicles, which have the potential to achieve a driving range exceeding 600 miles. The White House has introduced America's AI Action Plan, which outlines more than 90 federal policy actions organized into 3 main areas. President Donald J. Trump has issued an executive order to prevent the use of woke AI within the federal government, ensuring that AI models acquired by federal agencies focus on truthfulness and remain ideologically neutral. China is advocating for a worldwide agreement on AI regulation, and the UN's chief technology officer emphasizes the urgent need for a global strategy to regulate AI.
The White House has stated that Donald Trump opposes Elon Musk's company, XAI, securing government contracts, although Trump has refuted claims that he intends to harm Musk's businesses. Elon Musk's Neuralink anticipates generating $1 billion in annual revenue by the year 2031 and aims to implant 20,000 brains each year. T-Mobile US has launched its satellite service in collaboration with Starlink, making it available nationwide.
French President Macron has announced that France will acknowledge Palestine as an independent state, a decision that has sparked criticism from both Israel and the United States. A USAID report has concluded that there is no proof of extensive theft of aid by Hamas in Gaza. The Israeli military has stated that they will resume airdropping aid to Gaza on Saturday, following the announcement of a series of aid measures. In response, Jordan and the United Arab Emirates have also started airlifting aid into Gaza. Kaiser Permanente in the United States has decided to temporarily halt gender-affirming surgeries for individuals under the age attendance of 100,000 participants.
Zelensky has proposed a bill aimed at maintaining the independence of Ukraine's anti-corruption agencies, while the European Union has reduced its aid to Ukraine due to concerns about corruption. 5 days ago, in response to widespread criticism regarding corruption, Zelensky announced his intention to change direction. The leader of China's renowned Shaolin Temple is under criminal investigation, with the temple confirming that abbot Shi Yongxin is being investigated for misappropriating funds and breaching Buddhist principles. Furthermore, Trump has issued an executive order that compels homeless individuals to leave America's streets, which also includes provisions for the mandatory hospitalization of homeless people.
DARPA has set a new record in wireless power transmission by successfully sending energy over a distance of more than 5 miles, and they even used this power to make popcorn. In another
for the cancellation of the F-35 fighter jet agreement in response to these tariffs. President Trump has announced plans to impose a 100% tariff on computer chips unless companies establish manufacturing facilities in the U.S. The French government has set a deadline of September 30th for discussions on potentially eliminating 2 public holidays, as reported by Les Echos, and 2 weeks prior, the French Prime Minister stated that the country needs to work more, indicating his intention to remove these holidays. Furthermore, Trump has proposed listing the MAGA stock for mortgage giants Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
The Trump administration plans to reduce the frequency of its annual human rights reports. An executive order from Trump aims to consolidate the authority for grant-making with political appointees.
AOL is set to discontinue its dial-up internet service in September, marking the end of an era 34 years after its initial launch. Concurrently, the AOL Shield browser and AOL Dialer software will also cease operations. In other news, Hubble Network is planning a significant upgrade to its satellite infrastructure, aiming to establish a global Bluetooth layer. Reuters has reported that SoftBank has chosen banks for the U.S. IPO of its payments app, PayPay, according to sources.
Flash floods in China's Gansu province have resulted in the deaths of at least 10 people, with 33 individuals still missing. The report highlights a global plastics crisis valued at $1.5 trillion, which is impacting health from birth to old. The discovery of 1.5 million-year-old stone tools is reshaping our understanding of human history. The process of aging tends to pick up speed when individuals reach approximately the age of 50, with certain organs experiencing this acceleration more rapidly than others. Merely observing someone who is unwell can activate our immune response. Furthermore, feelings of sleepiness might be caused by an excessive amount of energy being used in our brain.
Israel's Unit 8200 utilized Microsoft's cloud services to store approximately 1 million Palestinian phone conversations each hour. Haaretz has reported that Microsoft is allegedly storing extensive Israeli surveillance data on Palestinians. Activists in the Netherlands have staged a protest on the roof of a Microsoft facility that holds Israeli military data. Furthermore, Israel claims that 5 Al Jazeera journalists were killed in a Gaza strike, with one being identified as a Hamas terrorist.
Apple has developed a large language model, LLM, capable of predicting tokens. Apple has developed a large language model, LLM, capable of predicting tokens at a speed that is up to 5 times faster when dealing with mathematics and coding-related tasks. In a separate incident, a cryptocurrency scam group known as Greedy Bear has managed to steal over $1 million by employing malicious browser extensions and AI-generated code. Red teams have successfully jailbroken GPT-5 with relative ease, raising concerns that it may be nearly unusable for enterprise applications. Trump's recent executive order, which prohibits debanking, targets a financial sector that initially welcomed his comeback. He claims that J.P. Morgan Chase and Bank of America refused to serve him as a customer. Trump is attempting to exclude undocumented immigrants from the census, which goes against the Constitution. RFK Jr. has withdrawn $500 million in funding intended for mRNA vaccines targeting diseases such as COVID.
NASA and Google are collaborating to develop an artificial intelligence medical assistant designed to maintain the health of astronauts traveling to Mars. James Cameron has issued a warning about the potential for military artificial intelligence to lead to an apocalypse reminiscent of the Terminator series. Official media in China has disclosed that robot wolves have been incorporated into exercises conducted by the People's Liberation Army.
Japan experienced a significant demographic shift in 2024, with the number of deaths nearly surpassing births by 1 million, further exacerbating the country's ongoing population decline. South Korea's military faced a substantial reduction of 20% due to the impact of a low birth rate on recruitment efforts. In the United States, the U.S. Air Force announced a policy change, stating that transgender service members who are being discharged from the service will not receive retirement pay.
In 2024, the United States experienced the second highest number of hate crimes ever recorded, according to the FBI. Despite this, the FBI's report indicates a decrease in crime across all categories for the same year. Former President Trump relocated the portraits of Presidents Obama and Bush to a concealed stairwell. Furthermore, the peculiar sound detected from the early universe implies that our existence might be within a massive void. Putin informs the U.S. that he will cease the conflict in return for control over eastern Ukraine, while Zelensky declines to surrender territory to Russia following Trump's proposal for a land exchange. Trump announces plans to meet with Putin in Alaska the following week, extending an invitation for Putin to visit America, and she expresses pleasure at the effort to enhance U.S. relations. Vance indicates that the U.S. is facilitating arrangements for a meeting involving Trump, Putin, and Zelensky.